Captain Midnight.
This video will feature spoilers. So, the Super Mario Galaxy movie just came out, and even though I didn't really talk about the first one, I felt compelled to go over this, because Mario Galaxy is not only one of my favorite games of all time, it's also looking more and more likely that this Illumination series is going to be with us for years, and eventually lead into some kind of MCU-like Nintendo universe. And that's a really big deal. It's something that many studios have tried and failed to do. I think it looks pretty likely at this point. As I'm making this video, the movie is poised to be a box office smash. So I wanted to give the Galaxy movie a fair shot and see if it's a good or at least fun adaptation of an amazing game and a decent jumping off point for what could turn into a massive universe of films. What I found was, not that. Before I get into it, I want to say that at the end of this video, I'm going to be talking about an episode in a new series that I have going up today. I'll get into that later, but I'm really excited.
We would like to play.
Mario is out of this world. In Super Mario Galaxy, only for Wii.
Okay, cards on the table, I am a pretty massive Nintendo fan. Not just on a I loved Mario Galaxy in 2007 level, we're talking I have opinions on the Super Game Boy and own Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn on Wii here. Like, Nintendo never re-releasing this game is my only retirement plan. So, I have a lot of thoughts on this stuff, and that is just going to bleed into my take on the movie for better or worse. And I think it's very clear that much like the first film, a lot of what the Galaxy movie is trying to do is win over longtime fans. People who, know who Lakitu is. They filled this thing up with point at the screen, I know that guy references. And if that's all you're here for, I think you'll maybe get something out of this. I understand that, but I think there's a profound emptiness to this movie that becomes harder to ignore the longer it goes on. And look, I know there's already a lot of people who will have written comments about how the film is for kids and it's a fun, turn your brain off experience. I'm sure there are a lot of people that feel that way. And while I always take issue with the idea that kids don't deserve good movies too, I can see where they're coming from. The thing is though, I don't think the Galaxy movie at all connects with the very safe, very predictable swings that it does try to take. Like, let's talk about the character randomly revealed right before the movie came out, Star Fox. As played by Glenn Powell, Fox McCloud is everything you'd want him to be on paper. He's got a fun, animated intro in a very different style, the actor feels well cast, so what's the issue? Well, Fox's story here, that he needs to get back home and that he's been lost in this other galaxy, amounts to nothing. He shows up, he has a few cool moments in the big adventure, and he leaves completely unchanged. I'm not expecting some deeply layered characterization here, but there are so many opportunities to just give him something, anything more, that the movie just doesn't take. When the gang crashes on a planet in his R-Wing, there's a moment where we see him really shaken by it. He's clearly emotional. And I get why. This ship is the only thing he seems to own now that he's lost. It's also what he entirely defines himself by. Without this ship, what is he? Is he trapped here now? Will he have to consider a new life entirely? Is he having to, for the first time, accept the possibility that he'll never see Falco, Peppy, and Slippy again? I mean, no, this doesn't add up to anything, and Fox is mostly used for badass moments that will clip well into TikTok shorts after this, just as he was before it. Like, I'm not asking for this movie to be about Fox McCloud's dark night of the soul here, but maybe some acknowledgement of the character's situation and engagement with him on a deeper level than just, oh, here he is. Okay, well, fine, that's just Star Fox. How about our actual core cast? The thing is, I think this holds true for just about every character in the movie, with the possible exception of Bowser Jr. Take Pratt's Mario. This is more of a Peach movie, and I'll get to her, but on paper, Mario has a few little story threads set up here. There's his infatuation with Peach. He wants to talk to her about his feelings, but he's held back by the thought that an amazing princess would never be interested in a little plumber guy like him. And there's his hatred of Bowser, who he's very harsh on early on in the movie, but then makes a major sacrifice for the gang, potentially setting up Mario to have to reconsider his once a villain, always a villain stance on King Koopa. I'm not saying these are like incredible story threads, but they are at least ideas, and the movie drops the ball on both of them. Bowser does turn evil again, and not even in an interesting way that makes him confront how his feelings have changed about the plumbers after some initial hesitation. Mario never has that particular conversation with Peach, and instead just gets a quick little smooch from her in the last scene. Luigi sticks up for Bowser. They seem to be pretty good buddies, and that barely comes up in the final battle. There's just no real indication that Luigi feels much about it either way. And Yoshi is also here. Peach and Rosalina's story is the most egregious though, because it's clearly supposed to be where the emotional core of the movie is. It really tries to get you to buy into caring about Peach's backstory and about the two of them as sisters. The sister thing seems like a major change to everything we know about these characters, and it's a twist that feels super undercooked. It's dealt with extremely quickly in a flashback. There's almost no time given to this discovery or how they feel about finally coming together again. What's supposed to be the beating heart of this story is dealt with so mechanically and with so little development for Rosalina that despite the movie's attempt to forefront these characters and really pull on your heartstrings a little, it doesn't even come close. So don't get me wrong, if they had executed all of this stuff well, I still don't think this would have been great. It wouldn't have been an interesting take on the source material, but at least it would have been functional as a story. The kind of thing that Pixar, at least at its height, could have sleepwalked through and produced something competent. Now, I can see the argument that, well, Mario games barely have stories anyway, this is about the visuals. I have seen that a lot. And I don't know, man, I don't think I even agree there. Setting aside the fact that even with its narrative minimalism, I think the game manages to create a far more interesting Rosalina than this movie does. Not to mention, there are dialogue-driven Mario games, from Thousand Year Door to Bowser's Inside Story, or even Paper Mario on the 64, that have narratives that are a lot more interesting and charming than this. Visually, I'll give the movie this. It looks expensive. It devotes a lot of time to slow-mo fight scenes, which I think get old fast, but there is at least some visual ideas at play here. But it almost never slows down and lets you take in any of the space atmosphere, something the Galaxy games really bask in. So much of it is bogged down in flat jokes and quips, and I found myself wishing for a stripped-down, emotionally charged, beautifully animated movie in the vein of Wall-E or something, where a simple but lovable character like Mario could shine doing what he does best in a movie that takes from more of the interesting elements of the game, and especially of Mario Galaxy's music. This movie's soundtrack is at least better than the first film. It's not wall-to-wall old pop and rock songs, and they do touch on music from throughout the franchise, but it still feels pretty half-baked compared to the gorgeous soundtrack of the Wii game, and it doesn't provide that same sense of awe and wonder that Galaxy was so good at tapping into. But look, I know the movie I'm suggesting is just not the movie that exists, and that's probably a smart choice on their part, at least as far as box office goes. I've always found the humor and dialogue in Illumination movies to be grating and overbearing, but it clearly does go down smooth with parents and kids, and there's a reason they've been an animation powerhouse for a decade. I think there's something special about the best of 3D Mario, something that feels very specific to the strengths of video games as a medium and Nintendo as a developer. I don't think there's anything special about this movie. It feels like a cynical brand exercise, and one that looks like it'll be handsomely rewarded. That probably means these movies will be pumped out for years or even decades to come, and if it's just contained to film, that's fine, I guess. But I do worry that the tone, voices, and style of the Illumination movies will come to influence the games more and more, which I would be really sad to see, because so little of what I really love about the best Nintendo games I think can be found here. The Mario of Galaxy, Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Odyssey is not a complex character, but he feels unique. He expresses joy, fear, and excitement in these big, broad, cartoonish ways that are distinct and have made him a beloved icon for decades. I don't feel that way about Pratt's Mario. They can toss in a wahoo whenever they feel like they need to, but he still feels like a generic Illumination lead. This movie is so hellbent on stuffing in as many references as it can to things I grew up loving, but it never feels interested in the tone or spirit of what made them lovable in the first place. So I teased it near the start of the video, but I want to take a minute at the end here to tell you about my new series, Showrunners. Film directors' careers are often talked about and analyzed, and yet I feel like the creators and showrunners of many of the most influential shows ever don't get that kind of coverage. I want to change that. My first episode of Showrunners is on Twilight Zone creator Rod Serling, and I'm really proud of it. Not gonna lie, this one was a lot of work, and there's more to come, like Breaking Bad creator Vince Gilligan, who I have queued up for next month. You can watch the Rod Serling episode right now on Nebula, and you'll find Showrunners alongside exclusive videos from creators like Lindsay Ellis, CinemaSticks, Broey Deschanel, and so many more. Over 200 creators now. It's the place to go for creators and viewers looking for something fresh and creative. You'll have all my regular videos ad-free on there too, along with all of that stuff. I'd love it if you checked out what I'm doing over there. Like I said, I'm really proud of Showrunners, and right now you can get 50% off annual memberships for only $30 a year, just $2.50 a month. Just go to go.nebula.tv/captainmidnight, scan the QR code on screen, or get straight to the first episode about Rod Serling by going to my link down below.
Here's a special tip for the fellas and girls who have not already joined Captain Midnight's new 1940 Flight Patrol. You'd better hurry up and join at once, because there's a big adventure ahead. The thing to do now is to get started, because we're going to have not only barrels of fun, but loads of free gifts and prizes, too.